If they don't want you to buy gold, they'll say, okay, the price of an ounce of gold is now $4,000. And that might not slow it down because that will scare a lot of people.
Price fixing scheme.
Price fixing. What do they not want you to buy? We haven't discussed this and we're on the same page. Okay, this is what they will do.
SD Bullion is at it again, but this time with a monster box full of Silver Tree of Life coins. Enter today at sdbullion.com/sweepstakes.
All right, let's take those.
And I have, somewhere I had more of the Republic Metals Corp. And I have lots of the Mint ID 5s.
Are those that popular, Tim? The Mint IDs?
Well, people, for some reason, think that there's a transmitter on the back of them, and it's not true. It's if you
Near field. That's what it is. Near field.
if you scan it with your phone, it actually takes you to the website, and so yep, that's genuine.
Oh, okay.
No, but this, people say, well, that's got a transmitter in it. No, it doesn't really. Your phone has a transmitter in it. Yes, they're all in tubes. Yeah, I have a very high quality round, buffalo round that we just got in. Let me see. And 100 weighs 7.5 pounds, 7 pounds, 5 ounces. So they're about 8 pound shipping weight. We put those in the medium flat rate priority mailbox. Let's say we get the wrong government in place and have inflation absolutely uncontrolled, then the coins will become a source of barter. And they will be worth whatever their weight is. So if you get the less expensive ones, you're going to get the same amount of barter value with the expensive coins or the inexpensive coins. It's going to be the same. Go ahead and say hello to Yankee yourself.
Okay. Hi, Yankee.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. So I'm grateful to you because I originally found Tim through you. And when I first bought from Tim, my close loved ones are like, are you sure it's not a scam? Because my first order took a while. Just knew you were my peeps, and you're my peeps. I'm in California.
We're her peeps.
It's really
We're her peeps, Tim.
out here. It's getting harder and harder.
Yep.
It's bad.
You said you're in California?
I am.
Oh, yeah. That's my sympathies. Hang in there.
Bad. Like even property, they're changing it. So you can only, if you do have a rental, you can only ask first and last. They get to stay there. You can't evict. It's all the way around. And so what I just said to Tim before he passed me to you is I'm just so grateful, and I'm learning that you don't sweat the price, although I wasn't expecting gold to pop up like it did. But, you just buy what you can on a regular basis just to be safe, because I don't trust the banks at all.
That's excellent advice. Are you suffering at all under rent control?
I have one rental property with a business partner, and it's crazy because they've changed everything so it's all rent control. Now you can't even ask for last month's rent. They just keep changing the rules. And it's the first time I'm having trouble renting because people are trying to squeeze, like, I'm not even joking, 4 adults, 3 kids, and dogs into a studio. The whole world has changed. Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. And, keep stacking.
Thank you, Deborah.
Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye. The call I was on, and you
Right.
talked to her for a while. People don't want to miss the opportunity because they're hearing so many bad things about what might happen in our government.
Yeah, like that
And-
rent control thing I was talking to her about.
Yeah, well,
What do you think of that?
that's a symptom of everything else. Let me just talk about that for a second,
Go.
because we heard that in one of the economic recovery plans is price fixing. Okay, it works both ways, and it has, even in our history, okay? Because the government can pretty much tell you what everything is going to cost or what you have to pay for everything. Let's pick something that the government does not want you to buy. Can you think of anything that might be considered competition for the currency? What do they not want you to buy? Yeah, you or I, we're on this. We haven't discussed this, and we're on the same page. Okay, this is what they will do because price fixing, whatever they call it, price controls, operates both ways. So if they don't want you to buy gold, they'll say, okay, the price of an ounce of gold is now $4,000. Okay, and that might not slow it down because that will scare a lot of people. So they'll say, well, okay, if you sell it back, you buy it from somebody, you sell it back, you're going to get $3,950. And the obvious question is, well, you're saying I have to buy it for $4,000, and when I sell it, I get back $3,950. That means I lose money on it all the time? Yes. So if you don't think it's a good investment, don't buy it.
Price fixing scheme.
Price fixing. But that's the way it has worked in every country they've tried it. Mostly Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela, Argentina. They've done that many times.
The United States with Nixon.
Yeah, but Nixon learned that was a bad idea, and they continued that. Remember, it was windfall profits.
Oh, I remember
after that.
Windfall profits.
And
oil companies.
so Carter continued that.
Yeah.
But it didn't help any. If you cripple a key industry, everything goes up in price.
But it's not just price controls; it was also wage controls,
It was also wage controls.
That's insane.
It's totally insane. But let's look at the way that works. Okay, if you make everything more expensive, like they did with petroleum, so why is it more expensive? Well, let's say you sell paper products. Where do they come from? Oh, our trees are cut down in Canada. Okay, how do they cut down these trees? Well, it's all diesel fuel. They have big pulp trucks. They use chainsaws to cut them down, and then they have to cut them in the right length. So that's a lot of gasoline and oil they use. So that's all petroleum, and then they put them on a truck and they ship them to the United States. And that really costs a lot now. And so then they go to a paper mill in the United States, and to keep that operating, they use a lot of energy. So that raises the cost. And then the paper could be paper towels, it could be toilet paper, it could be paper to put in your printer, printing paper. Now that's all not 5 cents a sheet. Now it's 10 cents a sheet.
Don't forget the price of labor too.
Labor is going up, but the transportation costs, people don't realize that is in the total cost of a product. And so who pays that? Well, whoever buys the goods. Doesn't matter if it's food or backpacks from Canada or paper products. It doesn't matter what it is. Wood products, everything goes up.
But it sounds like a great soundbite, though. We're going to cap rents. Rent control. That's a great thing, isn't it?
That's right. Well, everybody pays more. And then you get back to the discussion about equity. Okay? So everybody's dying under the weight of rapidly rising inflation. So people are getting poorer and poorer. Her answer to that is, well, don't worry about that, because it doesn't matter where you come from or what you have or don't have, you'll all end up in the same place. Okay, and
poverty.
She did say, and I think it was Karl Marx who said, from each according to his ability, to each according to their need. Okay, that's in the Communist Manifesto. That is exactly. Everybody should go look at Kamala's speech on equity. That is Soviet Marxism at its best.
It's terrible.
And that came out of the Communist Manifesto. You can't couch this stuff. And unfortunately, there are a lot of these communist believers who are running our government and the governments around the world. And people don't realize that when the Soviet Union collapsed, there were a whole lot of important communists did they evaporate? Did they leave the country? No. They're all billionaires.
Okay, so do you think that the price controls could come to precious metals? Do you really think that they would do that?
Listen, you either give them permission, Congress either okays price controls or it doesn't. If they okay price controls, it's across the board.
It's insidious.
You know, when the Soviet Union collapsed, you think that people could freely buy gold and silver? No, everything was still controlled. In fact, I had a customer who came here, he's from Russia, he came here to buy his gold. And I said, "Are you going to take it back to Russia?" He said, no. If I cross the border with this, it'll cost me $200 and it may even be confiscated. $200 per ounce. And it may be confiscated. So, you know, nobody, if you're from a former communist country, you don't travel with things that might be taken.
You probably shouldn't tell anybody you have this stuff either.
That's true. You know, if you're going to go to the bank and take your money out, I guess for the time being, you can take a check. You know, I took a check when I left my bank. You know? But the run on the bank in the 1930s, people wanted that cash. They didn't want a bank check. And that's what people are going to insist on in the future. They're going to insist on cash. That's why they do stress tests. And the last set of stress tests, key banks passed the stress test with flying colors. And what's a stress test? To test the ability of a bank to survive a run on the bank. But all that may be coming if we get the wrong government in there.
Are you aware of Moore versus U.S.?
No.
Basically, his couple had to pay taxes on unrealized gains because of an offshore account. They paid it, and then they brought a lawsuit against it saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. This breaks the 16th Amendment.
But it was a foreign account.
It was, yes.
Okay, because that's under the FACTA laws.
I know.
And I had a customer who went through this, and it was devastating because he was in the military. He was there for most of his adult life, and he'd take a paycheck, go buy some gold, go to Switzerland, put it in a vault. Okay, the IRS got a hold of every time he went to a vault, and they competed what his tax should be based on what that was now worth. Okay. And even though he didn't sell anything,
there was no
they forced him to sell it.
Exactly.
Everybody. I don't care if you're sitting in a Kamala rally, listen to what she says, because she's telling you exactly what is coming. And you know, people don't realize that the Soviets didn't go away. They did not go away. They're still in positions of authority. They're the ones who populate the World Economic Forum because they have a lot of clout, financial clout. And the things that the Soviet Union was based upon, now what was it based upon? Whatever made the communist officials rich. That's what it was based on. So when she talks about equity, she says it doesn't matter where you came from, how much you have, how much you don't have, you'll all end up in the same place. Somebody should say, you too? Are you going to end up in the same place? No, of course not. That's not the way it works. No. And that is the essence of communism, okay? Yep. Where the important people have everything and everybody else is going to end up in the same place. It's incredible that she could actually say that in this country.
I think people do need to check on that ruling because I think that's a seminal case. It is. Has huge ramifications for us.
How did they decide?
They decided against Moore, and they said no, that tax has to be paid on unrealized gains. Those that ruled against Moore said, oh, but the ramifications would be trillions and trillions of dollars, so we have to do it. I'm like, wait a minute. They're supposed to rule on the Constitution. It's against the 16th Amendment. The dissenting ruling was amazing. They said this is a slippery slope. We are going to eventually see a wealth tax. But they're going to use this
unrealized
as
capital gains is an absolute crime. Well, you're near death, okay, and you know, we don't have enough death taxes, and you bought your house, you know, 45, 50 years ago. So they can just walk in, you say, you know, you have to pay the unrealized capital gains on this house because you may die soon. Well, I want to leave it to my children. That doesn't matter. It's a new law that we just passed. You are liable for unrealized capital gains. And people need to pay attention because there's a lot more of this stuff that's coming down the road.
Yeah, I think they're going to tax what we hold for gold and silver if we let them. They're going to come after everybody's
Well, they've
wealth.
already done it to thousands of people who had foreign accounts. I mean, people say, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to go to Switzerland and open up an account. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
It's illegal.
Yep. Can you imagine if they forced you to sell your gold and silver?
Yes, that
And-
could happen. Could definitely happen. And that's not all that could happen. They could establish the price of gold. Why? Because they can establish, once Congress gives them the ability to institute price controls, it's on whatever they want it to be. Congress is not going to say, well, we can't make that for gold and silver and food. We can't do it to food and clothing. And they said, their answer is, why not? It can be across the board. We may need it for everything, you know. And you're absolutely right. The benefit to the government is trillions of dollars of revenue, but you know, they can establish the price of gold. But if they go out, you know, to make it crazy, who's going to sell it? If they say, "Oh, gold is now $20,000 an ounce," yeah, how much gold the Chinese have that they dump on these shores?
Right. All right, Guy. Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.